Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Game Things. I'm your host for the week, Ming, and today we'll start off our episode by covering some gameplay footage that got released over the past week. The first game that I'm going to talk about is Amnesia the Bunker. Amnesia the Bunker, as you would imagine, is part of the Amnesia franchise, and the bunker especially focuses on a World War I aesthetic. Basically, you'll be playing as a World War I soldier that is kind of trapped in a bunker, and in this bunker itself you see a couple of creepy things that, akin to somewhat supernatural stuff, just like all the other Amnesia games. Of course, your main objective is to escape the bunker and, well, survive. But of course, you'll be also equipped with certain tools that can potentially help you fight back, but in most cases, fighting back doesn't really work out too well. It's better to just conserve your resources and try your best to get out of a tough scenario. So Amnesia the Bunker, based on the footage that I've seen thus far, seems pretty decent. Currently, Amnesia the Bunker is set to be released on the 23rd of May, so about 2 weeks from now, and it will be released on PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, as well as PS4. We're going to talk about Chrono Odyssey, which recently got a couple of gameplay footage. So from the gameplay footage itself, we see a couple of things. First, the game is basically another Souls-like type of game, but instead of the generic Souls-like, it actually looks really nice visually. The background, the open world looks really great, and there are actually a ton of classes for you to pick from, and most importantly, they have a pretty cool skill where you can kind of freeze time and just launch off combos based on this freeze time. Aside from that, of course, one particular thing that actually stood out to me was the potential to have a multi-man raid on bosses. So yes, I know in Elden Ring you can kind of get someone to help you with the fights and everything, but from what I saw in the Chrono Odyssey gameplay footage, it's not really the same thing, because in the footage itself, it kind of showcased a team of about 4 to 5 players that were basically coming together and taking down a boss. So effectively kind of like a raid, but instead of your WoW raids with like 30 plus people, this is about like a small team of around 5 or 6. All in all, the game actually looks pretty darn cool, and I highly suggest checking the footage out. And of course, be subscribed to Game Things so that in the future, when we get more news about this really cool game, we'll be sure to keep you guys updated so that you guys don't miss out on any news about Chrono Odyssey. Anyway, that's basically all the gameplay footage that we got over the past week. Next, let me talk about some news that, you guys might be interested. First things first, we have Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. So this game that, originally was on PS4 and subsequently was remastered for PC, is finally now out and available on PS5. But the game in question will be a standalone game, so you kind of have to fork in a bit of money if you want to buy the game. But of course, if you already own the game previously on PS Store, perhaps on PS4, you can actually get an upgrade to the PS5 version, but it's at a cost of $10. Moving on, let's talk about another game that was kind of controversial, and this game entitled is Atomic Heart. So Atomic Heart recently just announced that their first DLC is scheduled to be released this summer, and the DLC will take players back to the confines of Facility 3826. So that's the entire basic storyline of the upcoming DLC. Next, let me talk about a game that, it's a bit of a niche, but some of you guys might be interested in. So the game that I'll be talking about is Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, which will be launching on the 8th of June this year. And the previous version of the card game, TCG Online, will be shutting down on the 5th of June this year. So if you're currently playing the card game on the TCG Online, make sure to migrate your account before, well, they turn off the old game, effectively. While there's no mention that, you have a deadline to migrate your account, I still highly recommend you guys to do the migration as soon as possible in case, you lose all your data, and you do not want that to happen. So yeah, speaking of Pokemon, Game Freak has recently announced that they'll be developing a brand new action-adventure IP codenamed Project Bloom. So Project Bloom will be an upcoming IP released by Game Freak, and based on some still images that we have seen thus far, it kind of reminds me of Wolong. I mean, the aesthetic wise kind of looks like Wolong, but the game footage, the actual still image itself kind of looks like Dark Souls, so we don't really know what the game's gonna be. All I have to go about is one single image, but so far the concept image looks pretty nice. looks. So I mean, you guys can be the judge of it yourself, and you know, let me know what you guys think this game will end up being like in the comment section down below, and you know, might come to a discussion about this particular topic in the near future. Moving on from that, let's talk about some open betas and demos. So Street Fighter 6 has announced that their open beta, which is currently set for the 19th of May to 22nd of May, will include everything that was featured in last year's closed beta. Aside from that, the open beta will also include 8 playable characters, including Luke, Jamie, Chun-Li, Juri, Kimberly, Guile, Ryu, as well as Ken. So if you are a fan of the Street Fighter franchise, be sure to check out the open beta and enjoy the game before deciding to purchase the game. Then we have Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, releasing on the 8th of June on Steam and Switch. So Harmony: The Fall of Reverie will first have a demo that is playable now up until the 21st of May. The game itself looks pretty interesting. It's a story-based game with the usual choose your action type of game where you create a story and you decide how the story will end. All in all, these type of games are really nice, and aesthetics wise, the game definitely looks pretty decent based on the little gameplay footage that I've seen thus far. So you know, if you want to give it a shot, try the demo, and from there on you can decide whether or not you would like to grab the game for yourself when it's officially released. So that's it for the gaming news that we have for this week. Next, I'm going to talk about a couple of delays that, you know, you guys might be a bit disappointed with. So Hollow Knight Silksong has officially been delayed, and unfortunately there is no new release date yet at this point of time. Then another delay that we have is on Dark and Darker Early Access. So this particular title in question, I honestly have no surprise at all that it got delayed, because let's be real, we have previously already covered this title in one of our previous episodes. Basically the entire story behind it is Dark and Darker, which was originally supposed to be released, I think last month or this month, basically said that, hey, you know, we actually didn't trademark our name, so someone is, you know, trying to take copyright for this particular title, so we can't use Dark and Darker anymore. In any case, now the devs have come out again and said that, hey, you know, we are gonna further delay the release of the game because, you know, we are still in a legal dispute with Nexon because of the name of the game. Anyways, that's basically it for this week. Next, I'll talk about a couple of games that you can grab your hands on right now and start enjoying. First game that I'll be talking about is Darkest Dungeons 2. Darkest Dungeons 2 has finally been made available on Steam, and it's no longer only exclusively available on Epic Games Store. So I'm not gonna go through in detail what exactly Darkest Dungeon 2 is, because Darkest Dungeon is an immensely popular game that I'm quite sure a lot of players have already heard about. But effectively, it's a turn-based RPG game, but at the same time you also have to cover a lot of things, for example stress, morale, and yeah, overall it's just a really tough game. And I would say that, you know, if you like this type of highly strategic games, Darkest Dungeon 2 is definitely the game for you, and you would definitely enjoy it a lot. Moving on, we're gonna have another really popular title releasing this week, and that is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So yes, it's finally releasing on the Switch, and you guys can finally enjoy the sequel to Breath of the Wild. So in terms of The Legend of Zelda, I'm not gonna do too much introduction to it either, because players by now would definitely already know what the game is about, and players are really familiar with the damn game itself. So yeah, I'm not gonna cover it at all, and in fact, I personally am pretty excited that the game is releasing as well. But here's the thing, I actually have not played Breath of the Wild, so you know, maybe you guys in the comments can tell me, is it really that good? Because I haven't actually seen any footage of it at all, and yeah, I really don't know if I want to sink the hours into it, so maybe you guys can give me some advice on, is it really worth the time? Anyways, moving on, we have our last and final title of the week, Death or Treat, available on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, as well as PC. So you might be wondering, what is Death or Treat? Effectively, Death or Treat is a 2D action adventure game that features a ghost during Halloween, and of course the music also has Halloween aesthetics, and the scenery itself is also of course Halloween aesthetics. And well, the enemies that you face in the game itself is of course more ghosts. So yeah, if you just want to find a brand new 2D action adventure game for you to enjoy, maybe give Death or Treat a shot, because the music, the art looks pretty great and looks pretty neat. With that, we move to our last and final segment of the week featuring free things. So this week, only Epic Games Store is giving out a game, and the game in question is Sims 4 The Daring Lifestyle Bundle. So, you know, just claim the game for free. I mean, Sims is a pretty fun title and you can enjoy, you can sink a couple of hours into it. Plus it's a bundle, so you might have additional other DLCs that you can enjoy as well. So it's really not a bad deal, and be sure to claim it before it's no longer available. And that basically wraps up our episode for the week. Once again, I was your host Ming, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week in the next episode of Game Things.